Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. For those of you who've not watched before, I'm Sophie Paterson, an interior designer in the UK, and today is the very first video of our new series, Spotlight. You guys always ask me, where do you get certain things from? And I can't share every single supplier, but I'm going to share the suppliers that I think are the very best in our industry. And I thought the very first brand that I would like to put under the spotlight has got to be Porta Romana. They do the most luxurious lighting. It's sold around the world. It's in some of the best properties that you would have ever seen. Always love Porta Romana. And after today's video, I hope you guys will too. I think I first heard of Porta Romana, and it's kind of hard to know because I've been aware of them for so long, but I think it was probably through reading House and Gardens magazine or Homes and Gardens, seeing them featured in there. I just, I used to cut out, this was before Pinterest and Instagram, I used to cut out things that I loved and put them on my mood board. And there was definitely some Porta Romana lamps on there. So that was probably my first sort of awareness of them. And then I remember setting up my trade account as an interior designer probably about 11 years ago. I even remember the project that I did that's still on my website actually, the Chelsea Townhouse. I set up the account for them, and I remember but you have to be interviewed as well when you set up a trade account, and just being so delighted that I got a trade account with Porta Romana. And then I remember buying my first Porta Romana lamp for this house when I first bought it 10 years ago, which actually is still in the corner of my room. Then about 3 years ago, it was during COVID, I actually did a talk with the founder of Porta Romana, who is Andrew Hills, and I did a talk on lighting with him and Sally from John Cullen. She's an amazing lighting designer. We've done a video with her, and I'll link it in the description box if you're interested in watching. And I've just become really good friends with Andrew since that initial talk. I love meeting business owners. I love meeting people in the industry, and he was someone that really struck me as very approachable, super knowledgeable, and passionate about what he does. And I just love sharing that passion for design with other business owners in the industry. So it's been an evolving relationship that I've had with Porta Romana. They have been there since the very beginning of my career, and I'd say my passion for using their products has just increased. In today's video, me and my team have a CPD day. CPD is, now I've got to remember this correctly, continuing professional development. And I like to do these kind of days with my team, probably like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 times a year, depends how busy we are. And basically what they are is we'll go to different suppliers, different manufacturers, and we'll learn about what's the latest products, how are things made, maybe learn about different applications for materials that we hadn't thought of before. It's really about just ensuring that we're continually developing as a company and that all the people that work for me are furthering their skills. It could be anything from seeing a supplier like we went to Porta Romana, or also sometimes I might send them on courses to learn particular technical skills. I think it's really important to invest in your team, but I also think it's really nice, we're so lucky, we're in this amazing industry that I feel so passionate about, that it's great that we get to go and see behind the scenes. So often we're seeing amazing products, amazing materials installed on our projects all over the world, but we don't always get to go and see where they're made. So I think that's really nice. Certainly for me, I loved seeing it, and I think my team really did too. We start off our day going to visit one of Porta Romana's suppliers that's actually here in Surrey, Adam Aaronson, who is an incredible glass blower, and he makes by hand some of the most beautiful lamps that Porta Romana sell. And I've used these lamps and installed them in projects all over the world, in America, the Middle East. So to find out that these beautiful high-end lamps are made literally half an hour away from my home, down this really quaint country lane, this beautiful little glass blowing studio, I mean, it blew my mind. Like, you have this idea that it's going to be made much further away, that it will be a much bigger production. But he has a really small team, and he was an incredibly talented and sharing guy. You can actually go to his glass studio. Anyone's welcome. You can book a day and learn how to do glass blowing yourself. So I think I'll definitely be taking my team back. Adam, I had no idea it was that labour intensive. It looked exhausting making that.
Well, it is quite tiring, but you learn little ways to avoid overdoing it. It's like having a flow diagram, or it's like doing a series of dance steps, or if you're a musician, it's like following a composition. The trouble is, if you make one slip, then you have to go back to the beginning, and it makes it much more difficult.
And how many years have you and Porta Romana worked together?
I think it's 24 years this year, and next year will be our 25th anniversary.
Wow, and is it the same 3 lamps that you're making now that you're making 25 years ago, or have they evolved over time?
They've very much evolved over time. We introduce a new lamp every year, okay. But there are some lamps. There's one that I designed in 1999, the coffee bean. That's a classic, and that's been running ever since, and one of the favourites, but it's actually one of the most difficult to make. Yeah. And then we also have the Adam lamp, and that's the pebble lamp, but I'm the Adam in the Adam lamp.
Obviously.
And I designed that about 20 years ago, and that's been a very popular lamp. Yeah.
Well, that's what really struck me, because your studio's based in Surrey, and you just don't expect, we've used your lamps in countries all over the world, the Middle East, America, and it's hard to imagine that these lamps start off in this really quaint part of Surrey.
What's quite interesting from my point of view is that I generally don't get to meet the end users, but sometimes I meet designers and they tell me where things are. Other times I'll just go into a hotel or a restaurant and oh, that's one of our lamps.
That must be so satisfying to see it.
Yeah,
yes. I can imagine.
Tell me, Soph, what is the one thing that you love most about Porta Romana?
It's the product first and foremost. I think I also love their story. I love the fact that they are, they started as a family company. I think they've still really retained the essence of that. They're a very friendly company. A lot of their staff have stayed there for the 30 years that the whole company's existed. Firstly, I didn't really expect their headquarters to be in Hampshire, but it's in the most beautiful setting, and it's such a lovely environment, and it perfectly suits Porta Romana, which is a very sort of friendly, and although it's an aspirational brand, it's a very sort of friendly and welcoming brand as well. And what amazed me and amazed my team is that they managed to do so much in-house. So they have a huge amount, I can't remember what percentage it is, but I think it's like 80% of their manufacturers and their craftsmen that make their lamps and their different pieces of furniture, I think it's something like within 40 miles of their headquarters. So they do a huge amount of manufacturing in the UK. They support a lot of small businesses and crafts people. But they even make all their lampshades at their headquarters. They have a lamp making studio. They have a painting studio. This way of making things is the kind of way that it used to be made like 100 years ago, or in Venice, or in places that you think have really held on to these skills. It's a dying industry in the UK. Sadly, we don't look after our craftspeople as well as we should. So to see a place like this that's supporting and really going for it in terms of manufacturing and making and keeping these skills alive was amazing for me to see happening so close to home.
Sophie, so what were some of the highlights of the CPD day that you had?
Oh, it was such a fun day. It was like the perfect day at the office. But personally, I love the bit where we got to go to their painting studio and paint a pair. These pairs had been printed on a 3D printer, and they were teaching us how they make their different paint effects. Porta Romana is really well known for their different paint effects, so you can get all these beautiful metallic finishes, but they will have a beautiful patina. And it was amazing seeing how many different stages, all the different techniques, all the different paints and products you had to use to build up that finish. And me and the team got quite competitive. It actually brings out everyone's personality. So Anthony's a real perfectionist. Mark was panicking when he wasn't getting it right.
There were some skills on display.
Yeah, Charlotte was Shauna was just slap it on, let's just get creative, don't care. We just had a great time, so that was really good fun. We all loved getting our hands dirty. We're all creative people, so to be a part of that process was really fun.
Do you have a favourite Porta Romana light?
Ooh, light. Well, they don't just do lights, they do furniture as well. I'm actually sat in front of a coffee table from them, but favourite, it's hard to say because I've got 5 things from Porta Romana in this room alone.
We'll have to go for a bit of a tour. What do you think?
I think we're going to have to do a walkabout. Do you know what? I think I'll share with you every single piece of Porta Romana that I own and I've had in my home for many years, and give you a little mini house tour. How does that sound?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. This is probably my favourite piece from Porta Romana, and it constantly changes because I'm always getting more things from Porta Romana. But what I love about this is just the chalky kind of earthy texture of the base, Again, like a common thread between all Porta Romana products is that you kind of want to touch them and feel them. You can really feel that it's all handmade. And I love the composition of the really sort of sleek and luxurious silk shade against this very sort of earthy and heavily textured base. And I love the scale as well. It's really big and oversized. Over here, I'll show you my very first ever Porta Romana light was this one. And I got this when we first bought the house, and I bought this in their Porta Romana sale. Every year or 2 years, they'll have a big warehouse sale where they might sell their sort of seconds. And I never really understood why they did that, because obviously everything's handmade, it's going to be slightly different, but they have quite strict parameters within which like certain sizes and shapes the craftsmen have to sort of meet. And if they don't meet that, Porta Romana still buys the products because again, they're a very fair company. But they don't sell them on their website because they know that if a designer's buying it and they've got like a pair of them, they both need to be fairly consistent and matching. So for some reason this was a second. I don't know why, because it's, like I said, all the products are perfect. This is probably my most popular item from Porta Romana I get asked about all the time. This is their Giacometti table. Again, the one that I sort of lusted after for years. And what I love about this is, firstly, I always wanted a stone coffee table in here. I didn't want glass. I used to have glass and I hate the noise when you put sort of a drink down on a glass table. But I wanted something that was practical, and a real limestone top is not practical. So this is actually one of their painted finishes. But if you look closely, it looks just like limestone, but it's wipeable. You can wipe off any drinks. So love that. And I love this kind of like hammered finish on the metal. It's kind of inspired by Giacometti. This again is one of my favorites. I kind of was umming and ahhing between that lamp and this lamp. What I love about this is the sort of the shape is just so beautiful, and I love the combination of materials with the glaze on the ceramic and then this bronze base here. And I love all the different colours that you get in this glaze, which are all my favourite colours to use. We've got the taupes, the creams and the blues. So I've used this one not only in my own home, but in a couple of projects as well. I'll probably share those with you on screen. So this is the lobby to my bedroom. You might have seen it before. These two lamps here are Porta Romana. I love the silk aubergine shade. You can see that it's got this like tapered shape, so it works perfectly for a slim console. And I love the simplicity of the base. This one, I don't think this one's made by Adam Aaronson, so he tends to make their smaller glass pieces. And I think it's a maker that can handle slightly bigger glass where this one's made, but I love the twisted shape. I think this one's called the Prism, and I love all the bubbles in it. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I just ran upstairs. And then the shade, this is one of their, I think they call this a gathered pleated shade. And again, they make all of these at their headquarters, which is so nice to see. And what they also showed us was how the lining, the material used, the lining, whether it's a white card, a gold card, or a platinum card, or indeed a fabric, totally changes the colour and the quality of the light that comes out. This is also a Porta Romana light. And this one I chose because I love the beautiful burgundy colour of the glass and how it ties in with the Fremantle wallpaper. And then I'll let you take a bit of a close-up, but here I've gone again for a fabric on the inside of the shade. And because it's quite a low down height, you're constantly looking over the shade. So it's really important that if you're using a lamp or even a shade in this position, you choose a fabric that's nice to look at on the inside, because you're going to see the inside as much as you see the outside. And interestingly, I didn't know this until we went to go and see them, but they will make shades. Even if the base isn't from Porta Romana, you can order a shade from them. And they've got a beautiful collection of fabrics that you can use. This I got in their last sale, and what I loved about it was all the little bubbles and the different colours in the base, and it's this really small, compact base. And then for the shade, this is like a work of art. It's got velvet on the outside and linen on the inside, so I'll let you get some shots of that, Ollie. This is another one of my favourites from Porta Romana. I don't know if you can see the silver clasp at the top, but that's one of my favourite aspects, is this textured metal section up here. And I think they call this the perfume bottle, and it does indeed look like a perfume bottle. So I love that, and it's so nice to walk past every day. And then I'll show you Ava's room. You're gonna have to forgive me, it's a little bit of a mess in here. I've just been sorting out her wardrobe because she keeps growing so quickly. The iconic giraffe lamp, how cute is that? And I picked that because she loves animals, but it goes with the giraffe in the safari wallpaper. This is from our collection with Fremantle, so I love how that kind of ties in. I keep saying this is my favourite, but they're all my favourites. This is called the dumpling lamp, which I think is the perfect name because it does look like a little dumpling. I love how small it is. They do this in a variety of different colours. I love this one because it had the dusty pink, which works so well in here. But it's a great lamp when you've just got a little small area that you want to light up. I think it looks perfect in here. So now we're in our guest bedroom, and this is basically like a museum to Porta Romana. We've got the bedside table lamps. Sadly, they don't do these anymore, but I wish they'd bring them back because I love the crackle glaze, and the celadon colour is actually what inspired the whole colour scheme in here. It's this beautiful light green colour. And then over here, this was probably my most recent Porta Romana edition. This is a coffee table from their collection, and I love the colour cutter. Oro top, the marble top. This is a real marble rather than their painted finish, but it's fine in here because it doesn't really get used that much. And then over here, I think this might be called, I don't know if I'm making up the names at this point, but I think this one's called Coffee Bean. Kind of has the shape of a coffee bean. And again, one of their signatures is how they have the really intense colour of the glass, and then they might have a lot of clear glass around it. It gives it a real sort of solid feel. I feel like that's instantly recognisable as Porta Romana. So as you can see, having looked around my home, I am a genuine fan of Porta Romana. This video is not sponsored in any way. I just love the brand and wanted to showcase them to you guys. So I hope that you've enjoyed having a little look around the house and seeing some of my products. And don't forget to check out their website in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I've loved sharing it with you. If you would like more regular updates, don't forget you can also follow us on Instagram at Sophie Paterson Interiors and TikTok at Sophie Paterson Interiors. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.